Picture this, a nation blessed with nearly 300 billion barrels of crude oil beneath its soil, yet 29% of its population requires humanitarian assistance. Venezuela possesses the planet's most abundant proven petroleum reserves, surpassing even Saudi Arabia's legendary fields. This South American country should be thriving, building schools and hospitals, creating opportunities for every citizen who calls it home. Instead, what we witness is a profound contradiction that challenges everything we understand about natural resources and national prosperity. Despite recent economic recovery showing 8.5% growth in 2024, Venezuela remains trapped in political turmoil with over 800 political prisoners detained as of September 2025, rather than lifting the nation towards sustainable prosperity. These vast energy deposits have become the focal point of international tension, transforming this tropical country into a strategic battleground where global powers compete for influence and control. Roots of revolution. When Hugo Chávez assumed Venezuela's presidency in 1999, he promised his people a fundamental transformation. The Bolivarian Revolution, as he named it, aimed to reclaim Venezuelan resources from foreign corporations and international financial institutions. For decades, policies dictated by the International Monetary Fund and World Bank had pushed Venezuela toward privatization, opening the state petroleum company PDVSA to market forces that many believed benefited outsiders more than Venezuelans themselves. Chavez rejected this model entirely, believing his nation's oil belonged to its people, not multinational companies or distant investors. His government seized control of petroleum production, directing revenues toward social programs, healthcare initiatives, and education systems. At an OPEC gathering in 1999, Chavez boldly advocated for reduced global oil supplies, successfully pushing prices upward and demonstrating Venezuela's potential influence on world energy markets. The promise and the problem. Initially, Chavez's vision seemed to work miracles for ordinary Venezuelans. Government spending reached unprecedented levels as oil revenues flooded national coffers, funding ambitious social programs that reduced poverty and expanded access to medical care. Literacy campaigns reached remote villages, housing projects rose in urban centers, and for the first time, many impoverished families felt their government genuinely cared about their well-being and future opportunities. However, beneath this promising surface, structural problems were accumulating that would eventually devastate the economy. PDVSA, once regarded as Latin America's most efficient petroleum enterprise, struggled under political management that prioritized loyalty over technical expertise. The company found itself unable to effectively develop Venezuela's complex heavy crude deposits, which require sophisticated technology and substantial investment. Meanwhile, government expenditures far exceeded sustainable levels, creating dangerous economic dependencies that left Venezuela vulnerable when global market conditions shifted. Maduro's inherited crisis. When Nicolás Maduro took office in 2013 following Chávez's death, he inherited a nation dangerously dependent on petroleum exports for survival. Venezuela's economy had become alarmingly vulnerable, lacking the diversification needed to weather fluctuations in global energy markets. Then, disaster struck as international crude prices plummeted dramatically, triggering a prolonged recession that devastated Venezuelan society and created humanitarian conditions that shocked the international community. Economic collapse created political instability that attracted attention from powerful nations eager to influence Venezuela's trajectory. The United States, under President Trump's first administration, saw an opportunity to challenge Maduro's government by supporting opposition leader Juan Guaidó, whom Washington recognized as Venezuela's legitimate president in 2019. This recognition came with substantial support, including transferring billions in Venezuelan assets held in American financial institutions directly to Guaidó's control, effectively weaponizing Venezuela's own frozen resources against the Maduro government. Economic warfare intensifies. Between 2019 and 2024, Washington implemented more than 150 separate sanctions targeting Venezuelan individuals, corporations, and maritime vessels. These measures inflicted approximately $11 billion in direct economic damage, according to Venezuelan government estimates. The sanctions specifically targeted PDVSA, prohibiting the company from selling crude oil to American refineries while simultaneously blocking Venezuelan access to naphtha, a critical chemical diluent necessary for transporting the country's heavy crude through pipelines. The Trump administration escalated pressure further by revoking 718 visas for individuals allegedly connected to Maduro's government, isolating Venezuela from international commerce and diplomatic engagement. In his first term, Trump placed a $15 million bounty on Maduro, framing him as a narcotics trafficker. These aggressive measures demonstrated Washington's determination to force regime change through economic pressure and international intimidation tactics, treating Venezuela as a rogue state rather than a sovereign nation with legitimate governance structures. Biden's diplomatic interlude. When President Biden entered office in January 2021, American policy toward Venezuela shifted noticeably toward diplomatic engagement rather than confrontation. Biden's administration pursued strategic negotiations with Maduro, recognizing that Venezuela could serve American interests as an alternative energy supplier during heightened tensions with Russia. In October 2023, several Trump-era sanctions were lifted, allowing Venezuela to resume oil production and exports, providing temporary economic relief to the struggling nation. This diplomatic opening created mutual benefits that suggested cooperation remained possible, despite years of hostility and mistrust. American energy security improved as Venezuelan oil could help offset potential supply disruptions from Russia, while Venezuelan citizens experienced some relief from the crushing effects of economic embargo. Biden even secured the release of imprisoned American citizens from Venezuelan custody through negotiated prisoner exchanges. Maduro welcomed this warming relationship, though underlying political tensions and human rights concerns continued to strain bilateral relations and prevent full normalization of diplomatic ties. Trump's return and escalation. Donald Trump's return to the presidency in January 2025 brought immediate abandonment of Biden's diplomatic approach. In March 2025, Trump announced aggressive new tariffs threatening to impose 25% duties on all imports from any nation purchasing Venezuelan oil, dramatically expanding economic pressure beyond Venezuela itself. The administration doubled the bounty on Maduro to $50 million, matching rewards historically offered for the world's most wanted terrorists and drug lords. In August 2025, Trump signed a classified directive authorizing Pentagon use of military force against Latin American drug cartels, with Venezuela firmly in the crosshairs. The United States deployed a naval fleet carrying over 4,500 sailors and Marines toward Venezuelan waters in operations officially described as counter-narcotics missions but widely interpreted as deliberate intimidation tactics. Facing overwhelming pressure from Washington, Maduro found crucial support from international allies opposed to American hegemony. China emerged as Venezuela's primary economic partner, investing billions in energy infrastructure while Russia provided military equipment and strategic support, creating a geopolitical alliance that significantly strengthened Maduro's position against Western pressure, resilience, and uncertain future despite enduring extraordinary economic hardship, military threats, and diplomatic isolation. Venezuelan society has demonstrated remarkable resilience. However, the situation remains critically fragile, with 7.9 million Venezuelans requiring humanitarian assistance as of 2025, according to United Nations estimates. Oil production increased 14.5% in 2024, providing some economic relief. Yet over 827 political prisoners remain detained according to human rights organizations, highlighting ongoing authoritarian governance concerns. Venezuela has implemented creative strategies to circumvent American economic dominance, including launching the petro-cryptocurrency and strengthening ties with China, Russia, and Cuba to create alternative trade networks. The government mobilized millions of civilians into defense units and fortified borders against potential invasion. Whether Venezuela can maintain this resistance against renewed American pressure under Trump's second administration remains deeply uncertain. The nation's struggle embodies broader global tensions between rising multipolar powers and traditional Western dominance, representing a critical test case for sovereignty, intervention, and the future of international relations in our interconnected world. Thank you for watching the World Documentaries. Venezuela's story reveals complex truths about resource wealth, sovereignty, and international power dynamics that shape our interconnected world. If you found this exploration enlightening, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with others interested in understanding global politics beyond mainstream narratives. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this geopolitical conflict? Do you believe economic sanctions represent legitimate foreign policy tools, or do they constitute collective punishment of civilian populations? Have you witnessed similar patterns in other resource-rich nations? Share your perspectives, experiences, and questions in the comments below. Join us next time as we explore more fascinating stories that illuminate the forces shaping our world today.